Next, we have bottom and top,
Mm.
which is very, very simple, very easy to explain. A top is someone who is doing something. Welcome back, Alia. A top is someone who is doing something within a scene. A bottom is someone who is receiving something in a scene.
Mhm.
That's all it means. It's a recipient and a giver. That's it.
That's it. Really simple.
Yep.
Then we've got switches. There are two types of switches. There is a switch within a scene, which is basically someone who both enjoys giving and receiving whatever is being performed. And then there is a switch within a relationship, someone who has both dominant and submissive parts of their personality and enjoys enacting them within their relationships at different times. Switches are complex people. For that reason, within the lifestyle, there's a lot of confusion and some
Prejudice.
and I'm sorry to say that,
Yep.
about switches. Mostly because, just like bisexual people, well, they don't know what they want and they should make up their minds. I call bullshit on that one too. It's not true.
Switches are not confused. They're just people who choose to devote, time and energy to exploring both sides of their personality instead of just one.
And that's really cool.
Perfectly fine.
So.
Then next we have daddy and mommy, baby girl and baby boy, which usually indicates within the relationship that there's some type of long-term age play going on,
Mm-hmm.
which means that someone is acting younger or in some cases also older
Sometimes.
than what their actual age is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very common term usually used, and by a common, I mean common within the community.
Obviously.
All the things that we use are uncommon.
It's also worth stating that this is not about incest, this is not about pedophilia. Age players and people who use these terms are obviously over the age of consent, and they are not in any way interested in children. They may be interested in exploring a childlike side of themselves. That's a totally different thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Then, last but not least, we have when to use any of these titles in a public sense. Basically, don't. These titles are for use within a relationship. I can call her slave, she can call me master.
Mm-hmm.
We have clearly outlined that within our relationship. If someone walked up to her and said, slave, blah, 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 she would probably laugh at them.
Or punch them.
Or punch them. If some random submissive walked up to me and called me master, without then adding my name into it, I would be very offended. If they added my name into it, I would just be really confused.
Indeed.
Because I'm not a master of the craft. No. Not even close.
No.
So, most part, don't use them. If you're going to use any titles at all, you may use master and mistress for someone who is a master of the craft, is very clearly a master of the craft. And
but use their name with it.
Use their name with it. And usually they identify themselves as master of the craft.
That's correct. So you know it's safe to use that term. In general, if you want to be respectful to people you meet in the dungeon, call them sir or ma'am. Consider it like we all live in the South.
Yep.
Call everyone sir and ma'am. If you don't want to offend them, that'll probably be okay. Now, some submissives, be they male or female, might take offense to you calling them sir or ma'am, in which case, okay, they will probably give you something else to call them, like their name.
But I've never seen anyone get offended over being called sir or ma'am when they were submissive. They usually just correct you. Yeah, they correct you.
So, people will basically tell you what they want to be called. If they don't, either go on the safe side by not calling them anything at all, or call them sir or ma'am.
Yep. And then there is one small sidecar to that, people within Gorian lifestyles, which are people, it's a subculture within BDSM.
That is correct.
Within the Gorian lifestyle, all dominants are called masters, all submissives are called slaves. That's just the way it is. So, in that case, you would revert to them as master so-and-so. In this case, it's not even master of the craft, it's just dominant submissive. You might as well let Alia come and say hi.
However, Gorians tend to keep to themselves. You probably won't encounter this in the community at large, and if you do, no one's going to fault you for not knowing proper protocol.
Yep.
It's okay. So don't even worry about that.
Yep. And then, of course, last but not least, our topic for next week, we want to discuss negotiations, both inside of a scene and inside of a relationship.
Why they're important, how you get through them without offending someone, and how you get through them while being safe.
Yep. So until then, as always, I'm Lillian.
I'm Alice.
And thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, comments, or whatever else, you can email us. You can leave a comment on the video. We will read and respond.
We sure will.
And we will see you next week. Goodbye.